I was convicted of 7 counts on Burhop's charges that he confessed to on the stand. And let me explain how they did it and how it was possible.
Okay. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to be...
I was convicted of 7 charges on Burhop's testimony. Charges that he confessed to. This is why they got that DEA agent nearing. They needed the federal racketeering statute because you don't have to actually do a crime under that statute to be found guilty for it. As long as they can prove you're associated with somebody, it doesn't even matter if you have knowledge that they're committing a crime. This is how they're able to charge you for crimes that are happening on the street, and they charge me for crimes that were happening in other prisons, not in my own prison. This is why they needed that federal agent to do that. So when I got out of Pelican Bay in 2015, when I got to the main line, I was introduced to Burhop just over the phone. I never met him in person, never even heard of him before 2016. And everything I'm going to say, this is his own testimony. But when I was talking to him, yeah, I did end up buying some drugs from him. I did a $1,500 deal. But the thing is, he had, from his own testimony, he had his own stuff going on with his own family and friends on the street that I had no clue of, right? And so he was under investigation by the DEA out of San Bernardino prior to my phone ever getting tapped. He was already under investigation, because he's doing business deals with the cops. This is why I try to warn people in those first videos why I thought I needed to warn everybody. It's not about cops or robbers no more. The cops are controlling everything. So, these dudes doing business deals with cops, man, these are cops. You're introducing peace officers of the court to your family members and friends. Or at least this dude was. You don't look at them as cops no more. They're your friends. They're your business associates. So through that association with these guards, who, by the way, were never charged for nothing over the years, they were able to put him and follow his drug careers back to where his supply was, and he got busted in Missouri, got busted in South Dakota, and they got busted in Nevada. He gets on the stand and confesses to all these crimes. And like I said, you don't have to have knowledge of somebody else's crimes once they say that you're associated with this group of people. It only takes you to be in a conspiracy with 2 or 3 more people, 1 to 2 people. So on one of the wiretap phone calls, he's bragging about buying these houses for his mom, ex-girlfriend, and girlfriend on one of the conversations. So, of course, when we all got indicted, they put liens on those houses. So he had real incentive, and he's already, like I say, in cahoots with these cops for 20 years. So, he probably felt he was a cop. So, cooperating with the government and for his testimony, his family and him were able to keep those houses. That was a part of his plea agreement, and it was also his wife, his ex-girlfriend, and current girlfriend were also given immunity from prosecution for money laundering because he confessed to making up to $130,000 a year during the past 20 years. So he was able to get on the stand, confess to these crimes that, by the way, were caught on the wiretap. Like I say, there was no conversations about that. These were all his, because his phone wasn't tapped. Mine was. So he was still doing his thing, in the prison he was in the whole time. But like I said, he was already under investigation from San Bernardino. But now that this DEA agent out of Sacramento wants to get me, as I pointed out in that email, he was able to grab that investigation out of San Bernardino and put it, you see what I'm saying, put that investigation on his investigation. So they just actually passed him their investigation to him with the charges in Missouri, South Dakota, and Nevada. So he confesses to these crimes on the stand for full immunity. And not only that, so I ended up also getting convicted of 5 murders. 5 murders, 8 drug counts. Like I said, I did do the one drug count for the $1,500. My co-defendants, Daniel, Brady, and Corbett, taking plea agreements, which I want the people to know proves that we weren't conspiring together. They pled guilty to whatever charge they had from their prison, but it's proof that there was no conspiracy amongst anybody else. And so I was in total agreement with them taking the plea. I mean, so because as far as I was concerned, it proved that there was no count one, that we all conspired together. And no one from the very beginning, no one ever denied that different things happen. Things happen in prison. But, they tried to make it look like it was all organized and we all planned it together, which was, absolutely false. But they needed that fake narrative to make it a federal case. That's the whole thing. They had to fabricate that this was a federal racketeering conspiracy case, that we all, sat together and planned every single crime, which is absolutely bogus, man. And so this is what got me so irritated and mad about this. And so the count one is the racketeering case. That's so everybody is charged with individual crimes, and then the count one tied it that we're all guilty of everybody else. So if someone committed a crime in another prison, we're all guilty of it.
Make phone calls and gave them access to encrypted chat applications, text messages, multimedia messages, and email.
Federal investigators wiretapped those phones.
The information and evidence gained through the wiretap of Mr. Yandel's contraband phone is a hugely significant part of this investigation.
My co-defendants, who stood strong in this whole thing and never whined or cried, they pled guilty to those murders from these other prisons. Yet here's a star witness from the government who confessed on a stand, who they gave full immunity to confess to planning 2 murders and 6 attempted murders. So you gotta wrap your mind around that. Like I said, I'm already doing 65 years of life for a double murder that I did. So for them to have someone on the stand to confess to actual murders and attempted murders that he actually orchestrated, to convict me of 5 murders that I didn't do, people have to wonder, why are they going to spend over $20 million to give my other co-defendants life sentences, more life sentences? That's what we're already doing, life sentences. But yet, the person that's actually committing the crimes gets full immunity and are released into the street. So that's the trickery that I was trying to warn people of. Like I said, it's too late for us. We're already doing something. So it ultimately doesn't matter about the crimes. We can only do 1 life sentence. So it doesn't matter, even when we get sentenced here in a couple months, wherever they put us, in the Feds in the Supermax or back in Pelican Bay, it's still not going to change nothing, right? So the taxpayer is going to have to ask why the government spent millions of dollars to convict lifers with more life sentences and let the dude that actually was in cahoots with the cops. Think about that. The person that was in cahoots with the cops, who gave up all the cops' names that he was doing business with, yet we're convicted. My co-defendant, we're convicted of crimes, and he gets to go home. That's the warning that I felt I needed to tell the people. Like I say, man, my co-defendant, we never asked for nothing. We never expected any help. But this is why I ultimately went to trial. So so that's the crazy thing. I'm getting convicted of 7 of his charges that he confessed to, that his family and him got the money for, yet I'm convicted of those charges. He gets full immunity to go home, and yet, on top of all that, while his family and him are enjoying nice meals at their nice $350,000 house he bought his mom, me and my both wife are facing millions of dollars in fine. Yeah, wrap your mind around that. And so part of his immunity was, part of his plea agreement was that because of him talking about buying those houses on the wiretap, the feds promised for his testimony that his mom, ex-girlfriend, and girlfriend wouldn't be charged for tax evasion and money laundering. That was a part of his plea agreement too. So I mean, he got a sweetheart deal. Confessed to all these murders. Confessed to selling drugs for 20 years with the cops. See, that reporter had it straight. Why didn't they go to? Because it ain't about the crimes. That's why they're letting that dude go home, and probably going to end up sending me to Supermax in Colorado. And it was all behind, I believe, the end of the hostilities manifest. So at the end of the day, they're going to put me in that Supermax, no doubt in that terrorist unit. But what do they solve? At the end of the day, what do they do? They're letting the dude go home that was working with the cops all those years, and they put me in that Supermax after they spent $20+ million. I mean, so what's changed? Nothing. Just their vendetta. With that prosecutor and Brian Neary, the DE agent. Why did this investigation turn to me when they found out Burhop was the drug kingpin, and they just decided to tap my phone instead? But like I said, him dumping his crimes on me. Okay, you found me guilty of all this, and I'm already doing a life sentence. I'm gonna continue doing time. But hey, look, if that's the case, and you're letting him go home, they should at least give me the money that everybody was making. I mean, if I'm gonna spend the rest of my life in prison, they need to give me the money. You know what I mean? They got the money, they got to keep everything, and I'm the one that got convicted. Boy, they played that. They played the people on that, and then they took $20-something million of the people the prosecutor gave. Boy, they had their cake and ate it too. Like I said from the beginning, my co-defendants nor I were looking for any help or sympathy. I mean, we knew it was a tough job, but we took it. It was really all about the foul stuff that I wanted to warn people of. I rode this case out to the end, all the way to a jury trial, to uncover what I could. Knowledge is in power. I uncovered these crooked emails, fabricated documents, and if you're up on these tactics, the better you can see it coming. And if these deals help just one person avoid the trap, it'll be worth it. So it doesn't matter what the trolls and the haters say. You know, so anybody making these comments, man, must be law enforcement. So at the end of the day, I'm going to ride 7 charges from Burhop's testimony and facing millions of dollars in fines. Burhop admitted on the stand at trial that he sold drugs with the assistance of PDCR officials for the past 20 years, which 15 of those years I was locked up in the Pelican Bay shoe. It's not about nobody's complaining about the time or even being found guilty for it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, man. We can only do one life sentence. Yeah, I'm still standing, so the haters can stick that in their pipe and smoke it. And if in the future you get caught up, and you can't say I didn't warn everybody.
All right, baby, I gotta go. That's my I gotta go. Hey.